everyone. Purifier is an important machinery on board the ships, ocean-going vessels. All ships we have purifier and for fuel oil, also for lube oil. Working of a purifier is very important. So there are many courses, many books, many presentations about the purifier. I thought that it should be simplified so that the people who are joining the ships first time or in the training academy, they can grasp the basic fundamentals of the operation of a purifier and the working principle. Therefore, this course. So today we'll talk about module 1, and in this module we'll discuss chapter 1, basic principle of purification. All right. Let me introduce myself. I am Sanjeev Mehta, and I have been in the training professional and as a working a marine professional for many years. So you can read about myself. So there is, so we'll know about. You can see if there are other videos I have put up on this YouTube. And of course, I've been in the training for a long time. I hope you'll enjoy the course. I always feel that learning has to be a joyful experience, not a stressful one. So enjoy the course. So we all know fuel oil is stored in bunker tanks, and then fuel oil is transferred to fuel settling tank through the transfer pump, which is normal. All ships you will find this is the way fuel oil is bunkered and transferred to the settling tank before it can be purified. Of course, then oil is purified and sent to the service tank for consumption. It is this part we are talking about, transferring oil from fuel settling tank to the service tank. Here the purifier comes in between, and this transfer has to be of the oil which become purified. So the purifier must transfer the oil from settling tank after purifying it as required, as desired. Not It should not work just like a transfer pump. Somehow transfer oil from settling tank to service tank. No, that is not the requirement. Requirement of a purifier is purify the oil which is there in the settling tank, and then it it gets transferred to the service tank, from where it will be used for various services, like for running for main engine, for auxiliary boilers, and other services. So importance of fuel oil and lube oil purification must not be undermined. This for fuel oil purification, for lubrication also, for lube oil also, in the sump oil, main engine sump oil, the oil need to be purified, because on the main engine we have stuffing box, and there are chances of fuel oil contamination with the lube oil. So that contamination has to be removed, purified, so that bearing uh, lasts longer. And bearing uh, cannot have any impurities in the lubrication oil. And now many ships having MAN BMW or RT flex engine, where the lube oil is used as a hydraulic oil in MEC engines, or MAN BMW electronic or computer control engine. The importance of lube oil purification becomes more important. All right. So before fuel is consumed from fuel oil service tank, fuel oil need to be verified, taking suction from fuel oil settling tank, purifying and filling up fuel oil service tank. So in this module, we'll learn about purifier and clarifier. Okay. So settling tank, then we have purifier in between, or also we can have clarifier depending on the requirement. And then we have purified oil goes to service tank. So purifier must purify the bunker oil which has been bunkered and which has been transferred to the settling tank from bunker tank, and fill up service tank with the clean purified oil. Remember, once again, purifier must not be run as a kind of transfer pump. somehow filling up the service tank. That is not the requirement. Okay, if you need this just to fill up the service tank, you can fill up service tank directly some in a way. Of course, there is no direct line, but somehow you can fill up directly from the settling tank. But that is not the way to go. Oil has to be purified, and we will see in this module, this chapter, how that is, what is the basic principle of purification. So let us visualize a settling tank. Separation begins in the settling tank itself. You agree? Right or wrong? What do you say? Right, indeed. At least separation began when the oil has been transferred to settling tank and it has been there for some time. Force of gravity will naturally separate out water and the sludge particles from the oil. Oil is lighter, water is heavier, and the sludge particles are also heavier. That is the reason. I was asking why. That is the reason. So there is a difference in density of oil and water. So lighter oil will naturally separate out and will be on top of the water. Water will settle down and come at the lower level, and oil will be on top and water will be on the lower level. And of course, slowly sludge particles, which they are heavy compared to heavier, they are heavier, they will also be settling down, sitting down, coming down. Heating the contents of settling tank will gradually enhance the speed of separation. Correct? What do you say, right or wrong? Yes. If you heat up the contents of the tank, the speed of separation will increase. Why does the speed of separation enhances when we heat up the oil? Yes, the common sense. Density of the oil reduces, so does its viscosity. Since the viscosity of the oil is reduced much more than it, that makes it easier to flow. That's all it does. Viscosity, it makes it easier to flow. But density, because density become less, so it becomes lighter. So it comes, it floats on top of the water. So separation becomes easier. So both are important, density as well as the viscosity. Viscosity only increases the speed of separation. So separation or purification starts taking place in the settling tank itself. Remember this. What is the separation velocity when the oil is there in the settling tank? It is given by the Stokes law. The formula is given here, which is where V is the separation velocity at the speed at which the separation takes place. D is the particle size. Here we are talking about separation of sludge particles and the oil. Okay, and so D is the particle diameter, sludge particle. Rho 1 is the density of the particles of the sludge particles. And rho 2 is the oil density of mu is the viscosity of the oil, and G is the acceleration due to gravity. What is the force exerted by on the oil particles and the sludge particles when the oil is in a settling tank? It is a force, gravitational force. That's the only force available. So we can see the speed of separation velocity will only increase when the oil density reduces. How the oil density can be reduced? By heating it up. Or the viscosity reduces. How the viscosity will reduce? By heating in the oil. All right. In the formula, rho is mentioned, but actually it is rho 1, density of the particle. All right. So we can see, and we saw in the last slide, the separation velocity will increase when the density of the oil particle, not the oil particle, yes, rho 2 reduces, and viscosity of the oil also reduces. Okay. So higher the difference in the particle density of the sludge water and the oil, higher is the separation velocity. Correct. Lower the viscosity of the oil, higher the separation velocity, because oil become lighter and easier to flow. Therefore, raising the temperature helps in increasing the rate of separation. That is why we heat up the oil when it is stored in the settling tank. All right. So that the separation takes place, and there is less effort on the purifier. And not much, that this separation is not very effective, But nevertheless, it is an its separation is taking place, and it does help us. All right, this is our settling time. The lighter brown oil is actually oil, and the thicker one are the sludge particles. So, as per the Stokes law, oil will be floating on top, sludge particles will be at the lower level, and if water is there, some amount of water, that will also be at the lower part of the tank. So, this is visual indication of the settling time. You can consider it as a settling time. Okay. When the oil is transferred in the settling tank, sludge particles and the oil particles are mixed together. Slowly, sludge particles, also the water particles, they will start settling down, isn't it? Start moving down because of the force of gravity. And the separation, more separation will take place depending on the distance they need to travel, because they will need a place to settle down. Otherwise, they'll be mixing up, keep mixing in the oil, isn't it? If we give the sludge particles a surface where they can adhere to, then the sludge particle will settle down there. Nearer the sludge particle surface where they can settle down, quicker they'll be, quicker will be the separation. But if we cannot make a settling tank very small in height or breadth, whatever, we need to have settling tank. Has to be like a settling tank where the large quantity of oil can be 15, 20, 25 cubic meters of oil can be stored. But nevertheless, this is the base principle. The sludge particles will separate out from the oil if they find a place to settle down. All right, any surface to settle down. Closer the surface, faster is the separation. Because the moment they find a surface, they will settle down. Correct. Understand the principle of separation. Let us say we are continuously pouring oil into one tank or one part of the tank or one container. All right. Container looks like this. Imagine it. This is not a settling tank, just for the explanation purposes. So the oil we are pouring sludge particles and the oil, but the oil which has sludge particles in it, and it overflows and goes to another container. If you pour oil slowly, the heavier particles will settle down, and comparatively cleaner oil, that is, we can call it purified oil, will come to another container, separate container. All right, which is come out cleaner, isn't it? You got it. We are pouring oil along with sludge particles which are there in the oil into a container, but very slowly. The sludge particles are finding place and slowly settling down. Comparatively cleaner oil is going into another container. Basically, we have got a purified oil in a way. Right? Correct. If the same quantity of oil when which we are pouring, we start pouring faster at a faster rate. That means the sludge particles which are there in the oil, trapped in the oil, they will not find a time to settle down. As some of the sludge particles will flow out with the cleaner oil. So what we will get is not a purified oil or less purified oil or not so cleaner oil. So how do we stop these sludge particles in the oil from flowing out? What do we do? What can we do? Can you suggest anything? Think about it. Hmm? How to stop these sludge particles from flowing out and coming into the separate container where we want to collect cleaner oil? What to do? Think about. You found out a way. So if we allow such particle to settle down earlier at a closer place by putting certain plates, let us say. So the sludge particle will have a lesser distance to travel, and they will find place to sit down, settle down, adhere to, isn't it? Lesser number of sludge particles will flow out, even if the speed of the flow of the oil remains same, which was earlier, isn't it? So we can fit the number of plates at a certain distances in the tank so that the sludge particles sticks to the surface, and the comparatively cleaner oil will flow out in the smaller container where we are collecting or trying to collect the cleaner oil. All right, this is the principle. This is not, it's not that in the settling tank we are fitting these plates, but this is just an explanation, how the sludge particles can be collected even when the speed of flow of the dirty oil is much more. All right. Water also in the oil which we bunkered, and now which we transferred to settling tank. In the settling tank, we'll have oil, some such particles also, and the which will be at the lower level, bottom level, and the bottom level will be water also, because water has a high density as compared to the oil. And where the oil and water mixes, not mixes, meets, that is called interface. We call it oil-water interface, which plays a very important role in operation of purifier. To remember this term, oil-water interface. So as per the Stokes law, which we already don't know, already know, oil will be lighter, being lighter will be floating, and water will be, being heavier, will be at a lower part. All right. Imagine we are feeding oil, dirty oil, having water and sludge particles. hmm, The separation which takes place will look like something in another next slide. I'll show you the picture of that. But imagine we have two liquids now, oil and water, and also have sludge particles. In the settling tank, we put two outlets. In the settling tank, we put two outlets. If the feed rate of the dirty oil is slow enough, cleaner oil will come out from the oil outlet, oil side, which is on top because it's lighter, and water will come out at the lower side, which will show in the next slide, which I'll show you. You can go back to that slide and come back again here. Such particles will try to settle down on the periphery, on the sides, or at the bottom also. So separation of oil and water will be at the interface level where the oil and water meet. That is called interface. So separation of oil and water will take place there. All right. Now imagine this place in the settling tank. Suppose we put two outlets. It is possible to put two outlets in a settling tank at certain heights. One at a little height compared to a little more, and somewhat at a lower level. All right. So you see, imagine, and I'll show you the picture now. This is your settling tank and separation taking place. As your settling tank with the two outlets, one outlet, oil outlet, which will be on top, one is outlet, water outlet, which is a lower level, and the oil is coming, dirty oil is being sent, and oil and water separation is taking place. Oil and water has been taking place, and you have water coming out from water outlet, and you have oil outlet coming from the oil outlet, and you have an interface. This is the place where oil water interface is exists. So this is what the settling tank will look like. Hmm. Actually, this is not the way we design our settling tank, but if you imagine, separation will take place in a settling tank, and this is the way separation will take place. All right, this purely because of the force of gravity, purely nothing else. Hmm. So separation will take place. Of course, the efficiency of the purification will be not so much and will need a long time to ensure oil is clean enough for our usage in the engine. Okay, but this is the principle of separation. Correct? Agree? Maybe a requirement of ensuring that oil and water do not come from each other outlets. That is, water does not come out from the oil outlet, or the oil does not come from the water outlet. So the interface position we may have to move. Although we do not, our settling tank does not work like that. But this, as a matter of principle, I am trying to explain to you. So if we have this interface, we may need to move the interface in case oil is coming out from the water side. All right. If the oil is coming from the water side, or the oil is coming from the water side, either way. Understood? Water is coming from the oil side, or the oil is coming from the water side. When the water comes from the oil side, we say seal is broken. When the oils come from the water side, we say overflow has taken place in actual purifier. But in settling tank, this cannot happen because we do not have settling tank like this. But this is the principle of wear, which actually we call gravity disk. So wear can be thought of as gravity disk. So if we change the height of the wear, interface will move higher or lower, depending on the height of the wear. So this is where we call actually gravity disk in purifier. When you discuss purifier, you will know it. All right. If we take the example of the settling tank as we have discussed, and we put baffle plates, such particles will have less distance to travel, and they will adhere to the surface and can be manually cleaned and removed periodically. So we have a settling tank where we have a manual operation of a system of purifying dirty oil. Correct? And we have two outlets. One is the oil outlet, one is the water outlet. And we can put a weir to move the interface as per our requirement. So we understand that purification like this in a settling tank will be extremely slow and not of any use. We can say idea of purification actually originated from the settling tank. All right, interesting, isn't it? So this was the idea of the purifier. Now imagine this settling tank, which we see the picture, although settling tank doesn't look like this, but this, now we turn it on our sides and we have two settling tank, one on left, one is right, and we rotate it at a high speed. So this becomes a purifier. Got it? Got it? Yes. So this is now we will have a purifier. Once we turn it on this one we turn on right side or left side, and we have another one exactly like this, and which is a mirror image. So we'll have two, and we rotate them at a high speed. Okay. So now we have a purifier. All right. So you got understood the principle of operation of a purifier and why these plates are fitted, number of plates. These plates are fitted so that the oil can stick to them and the separation is better and effective. All right. The principle of operation of a basic purifier functioning. So, and now this is the end of chapter 1. Now we'll go to chapter 2 and understand how the purifier actually works. Okay. Have a good day. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.